to put what organization you're with in the chat, that would be great. And so folks can take a look at that as I pull up my PowerPoint. Let's see, do I remember how to share my screen? Yes, all right. All right. Can folks see that I have a browser open? Excellent. Thanks for nodding, Jess. I appreciate it. So, all right. So we're just so thrilled with this year. The Giving Day is always a fun and exhausting project to be a part of. I'm sure those of you who've done it more than once or just the one time understand what I mean. So we're all glad that we've had a few opportunities or a few weeks to recover, but we just thought it would be nice to start something new this year and celebrate together. Maybe we'll do something in person in the future, but I really wanted to hear about folks' wins, and kind of chat about next steps, and show you the data from this year. Because you probably have seen the big numbers, but there's so much more data to go through, that I'm still combing through. And so we'll get started. So this adorable photo is from Summer Musical Enterprise. Great group of kids. Um, and they had a lot of fun with the event. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to have the screaming right away. Just so you're aware, there's going to be screaming on the next slide. This is the video of when we hit over $1 million. So if you're curious as to how that went, and if you want to lower your volume a little bit, to help with the screaming, but just you can see the behind the scenes of what we all thought of hitting over 1 million, and it was very calm.
I can't hear any screaming, although the visuals are fabulous.
Okay, good. It's kind of good that just so you're aware, the screaming's very loud. So
It
maybe
was
it's
very
good
loud.
that you're not like your eardrums didn't get injured. So best of both worlds. So we were pumped, and you'll have to take my word for it that they were screaming. And we're just so thrilled. Hitting over $1 million for the first time is such a big deal for our community, and just shows, even during really challenging economic times, and challenging times to be a nonprofit, it's pretty incredible to see how our community comes together each year. So hitting this milestone was really exciting. So the big numbers, a little over 1 million raised for 131 organizations. We've never had that many organizations raise something during this event, so that was thrilling. This brings our all-time total up over $6 million. So, and we began this event in 2014, raised just under 39,000. So we've come a long way, and it's incredible to see the growth of this event. More than 3,000 donors made gifts, and when you see the difference in those numbers, it shows a lot of people gave more than once, which is really neat to see. And I'll go back. As probably many of you noticed this year, because many of you submitted photos, we had photo prizes this year. So that was exciting, and encouraged folks to take photos of what they're doing and sending to them, which was kind of our secret plan. We love seeing photos from the event, and this really encouraged sending a lot of those along to our team. And then 2 organizations were picked for photo prizes. So you'll see the photos that folks submitted and some of the ones that our team took as well. Um, Also this year we gave away more awards than ever. So we added several new awards, a lot around random chance, but we had a few where we we reserved some of those random chance prizes for just organizations that have a budget size of under 200,000. We also added some early giving prizes this year and those photo prizes that I mentioned. So 36 organizations won one or more awards. So we were really excited about that. And we hope that you all enjoyed the changes that we made this year. So we went from 29 total awards to 45. And it always feels good to give out money to a lot of different organizations. That was exciting to see happen. So, still crunching the numbers on categories. This one I just kind of added at the last minute, but you'll see here, these are our top 5 categories that folks gave to. A lot of work is being done around issues related to poverty, food access, access to housing, that sort of thing. So that was our top one, and then followed by education, arts and culture, animals, and civic affairs. So I thought those were really interesting to see, and they all might these categories would change a little bit based on when we look at numbers of donors. But I just had time to look at amount raised for each. But just extraordinary across the board how much was raised for each category. And then small gifts add up. We definitely got some large donations. There were a few in the $10,000 range, a couple $20,000, which of course were thrilling. I know some of the large ones, some of them weren't completely expected, which always feels wonderful, right? But I wanted to focus on small gifts as well. They add up. The number of donations under 50 dollars or less was in the thousands, and it represented 59% of our donations. And then it goes up to 81% when you look at donations that are 100 or less. So I really think those numbers are interesting, just showing the impact of how much small amounts can be. So the most common donation amount was $100, followed by 50, and so forth. So I love seeing smaller size gifts. Of course, you get up there to 50 and 100, maybe not as small, but on the smaller side. And it's just heartening to see the number of $5 gifts as well, showing that when we're all together, it makes such a difference. So I always like seeing those numbers. So I'll pause. Um, Ran through those a little quickly, so happy to hear any feedback from you all on those. But also wanted to pause to see if anyone wants to share about their successes this year around money raised or other goals that you had. Maybe you wanted to get more donors than last year or that sort of thing. So would be happy to hear from the group if you'd like to share. And you're just welcome to unmute. Don't all unmute at once. Um, Susan, could I pick on you to ask about the success of the Blacksburg Community Band this year? I'm sorry. Susan, why do I always say community band when it's master chorale? How did you all do on your goals this year? Not sure if Susan Hanson, can you hear me? All right, I'll pass over. Glad to hear from Susan if she'd like to share. I don't know if Laureen or Jamie from the Y might want to share.
Sure. And Jamie, you can chip in if you want. As always, we appreciate the opportunity to do this, and you ladies over there at the Community Foundation do an amazing job, and we really appreciate all of your help because I know I had a lot of last minute questions, so you were a great help. We did not quite reach our goal on the day, but by the next day we had surpassed our goal. So that was exciting for us to be able to do that, and I think we had fun with just a different campaign this year. We came up with a say yes to help the Y keep doing the various programs that we're running, and that seemed to be effective. And I haven't crunched the numbers, but we did have a lot of new donors this year, which was exciting, as well as returning donors. And I can get those numbers to you, but not today.
I'd love to see that. That's a great metric to look at. And certainly hard to retain new donors, but it's so exciting when they engage and you have that opportunity. And with the meeting your goal the next day, I know it's always disappointing when a check comes in late or whatever it is, and particularly with the mail right now. It's tricky, but it's so satisfying to know when you've reached a goal, even if it isn't quite on the day. That's wonderful. Mm. Lauren, can I ask if you'd be interested in sharing about how close to the end you were on reaching your goal?
Yeah, my camera won't turn on. I'm so sorry.
You're fine.
Um, but yeah, we were doing really great about this, we were getting a lot of really a lot of early donations and everything was going really well. And we were just a few $100s away from our goal. And I posted on, it was so weird because it was like constantly coming in all morning. And then I made this post on Facebook where I was like, all right, everybody, we got 10 minutes left or 20 minutes left. And then it was just nothing for like a while. And we were truly like two to $300 under our goal. And I was like, that's fine. And at like 11:58, a check for like $500 came through. And we literally were down to like 90 seconds. Um, so we all were celebrating over here. It was, extremely exhilarating. I didn't realize how invested I was going to be in like keeping track of like how many donations were coming in and the leaderboards, but it was a lot of fun and we were all very thrilled on this end. But yeah, it was truly down to the wire.
Oh man, yeah, that's a nail biter. I love that though. It's like you just never know. It's just I feel like it can be different every year. Sometimes you hit your goal really early, and then sometimes it's like really close to the end. And it must be exciting for you being the new director at Literacy.
I was really excited. And then I think one of the things that I was most excited about was, there was a way for me to check, like, what we did last year and compare that to the years prior. And because this was my first year, I was like, I just don't want to do worse than we normally do because, it was my first time at the helm. And I think we were $300 away from what we made last year. So like very little. The discrepancy was very small. But what I was really excited about was we had more individual donors this year than we did last year. So I felt pretty good about that.
Yeah, absolutely. The oh, I just saw in the chat Susan is having saying the audio is muffled. Is anyone else having a hard time hearing me? Okay. Sorry, you're having issues, Susan. Um, but I can make sure to try to keep speaking up. But I love that, and sometimes it's even more satisfying seeing the number of unique donors being like substantially high, even if you haven't raised a huge amount of money. Just seeing all those folks chip in is exciting. And I can tell you, when we were down to the wire, I think we hit over 1 million. Was it around 10 of on Thursday? And all of us, our whole team was in the conference room and we had plugged in someone's laptop to the big TV, and you could see different donors coming in on the wall, and you could tell other people were watching the event numbers because we were so close. So that was just a lot of fun. It would be something. I mean, I don't want to commit myself to this because it sounds stressful, but it'd be really fun to be in a big room with everybody to watch that. We tried to go on Facebook Live as we got close, but someone doesn't know how to use Facebook Live, so but messed that up a little bit, which was fine. But we just had a really good time watching the end. All right. Any other successes around goals that you have that folks want to share before I go to our next slide?
Hey Lindsay, this is Crystal with Little Big Dog Rescue. Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
I am technologically challenged, so working my camera's not my best option.
No worries.
Um, but this was our first year and we set our goal low at what we felt like was low for $2,000. And we ended up hitting that, I think, right before Giving Day, we bumped it up to $3,000. And then we bumped it up to $4,000. And then in the last day, like the last day, day and a half, we ended up going over 6,000, just over $6,000.
Wow.
So we were really, really excited about that because we tripled what we thought was, just a real basic. Our literal whole goal this year was to survive. Um,
Yeah.
like we went to all the meetings and all the webinars and tried to do all the things, and it was extremely overwhelming. So we're like, our goal is to survive this year. So the fact that we tripled our goal, we were very, very thrilled about.
That's so exciting, Crystal. Yeah, you all were so engaged and it was fun to get to know you a little bit and hear about the work that you're doing. And yeah, it was thrilling to see how well you all did. Especially when you're a new organization, because that's kind of the advice I give folks, like, maybe keep it low and if you over deliver, that's great. And you all certainly over delivered. Tripling your goal is amazing. Congrats.
Yeah, it was definitely like watching the lottery though. Like the others were saying, it's like, oh my gosh, we're almost at 4,000. Well, wait a minute. We're almost at 45. We could get to 5 now. Okay, but now we're way past that. We could get to 6, you guys. We could still get there. And then, it was very addicting. It was horrible. I'm pretty sure I need blood pressure medication now.
Yeah, maybe so. Maybe some kind of meditation routine during the day.
Right,
Yes,
right.
for sure. I love that. Well, thanks for sharing, y'all. I'll keep going. Maybe. Here we go. So this is another set of numbers that I enjoyed. So one thing to note about some of our numbers, um, the we have, of course, online gifts where all kinds of data about our donors is collected, like home addresses, right? And you can see where they live. But we only have some of that data for our offline gifts. So all of these uh, donations probably don't add up to all the like come short of all the donations that NRV donors gave. So this isn't quite there, but I think it's a pretty good representation of the majority of our gifts. So this is all by donations. And so not surprisingly, kind of based on population, Montgomery and the amount of nonprofits in Montgomery County. There's the most amount there, but there's, of course, so many organizations in Floyd, so not surprising to see them come in second. And then Pulaski and Radford. I was very excited about Giles because last year they had a fewer amount of donors and gifts that came in from donors in Giles, so it was really cool to see more coming in. And then we're still expanding our work in Wythe County. So we added Wythe County as part of the Community Foundation's portfolio back in 2020. And of course, we all know what happened in 2020. So been slowly doing outreach to that part of the New River Valley and getting more folks involved. So it's just exciting to see the numbers grow and just see the extraordinary generosity right in the NRV. And then giving across Virginia. So one thing I didn't do was look at the percentage of gifts in Virginia versus outside Virginia, but I would say it was at least 80% based on our list of folks of giving right in Virginia, which was it was exciting to see, our NRV neighbors giving, but then across Virginia as well. Um, so what I thought was interesting, if you add up all the localities in Virginia, we have 38 independent cities, 95 counties. That gives you 133 localities. We had pretty amazing coverage, 65%. There was at least one gift in each one of those localities. So I just thought that was so fascinating just to see the reach. And I think it really speaks to the work that you all do to reach out to, you know, friends, families, colleagues, supporters across the state, and just seeing what Virginians are doing for Virginians is just so heartening. So seeing how it goes in the New River Valley, and then kind of focusing out across Virginia is exciting. And then giving outside Virginia. So our top three states with the most gifts were North Carolina, Pennsylvania, and Florida. We hit 45 states. If you know anyone in Alaska, that's the one that comes to mind that I know we didn't get. Let's reach out to them next year. Maybe we'll get up to 50 next year. And then, of course, we had gifts from DC and one from St. Thomas, and then 7 different countries. So the reach kept going beyond Virginia. All right. So, talking about nonprofit collaboration on the day of, and I can share an example that I know only a few details about, but I love the nonprofit collaboration so much, and I think we saw that throughout our planning for the event at all of our different online events, in-person events. and seeing how people wanted to share ideas. It wasn't, oh, you're my competitor, so I don't want to, tell you all my fundraising secrets. It was really incredible to see folks wanting to share ideas and especially help folks who either their organization was new or they as a person was new to the event. So loved seeing that and loved seeing how just, and I feel like I said this many times over the course of these events and all the trainings we had, but it's true of that mentality of rising tides lift all boats. And I think that really applies here in our community. We live in a really collaborative community and just love to see all the work being done. So one collaboration I know about that happened in the days leading up to the event, Calfee Community Center in Pulaski always does a wonderful job with the event, and they have for the past few years held a big fundraising gala in June, and they part of the fundraising they do during that event, it goes toward the proceeds go toward the Giving Day. But they also partnered with New River Conservancy because they've been working with them on other projects. And those are two that you might not think right away would collaborate, just because their areas of interest are a little bit different with arts and culture and education versus environment. But they work together on uh, doing some work during the gala. And so I just really enjoyed hearing about that of teaming up and like splitting proceeds on something. I thought that was really cool. And then, of course, there was an incredible trivia night at Iron Tree in Christiansburg. And so downtown Christiansburg, Literacy NRV, NRV Cares, and Inmate Family Assistance all got together for that event. Lauren, would you want to share a little bit about that? I feel like I'm putting you on the spot, but I appreciate anything you want to share.
No, that's okay. So I was invited to that event with Marilyn, and that was such a lovely thing. Again, because I know Marilyn is new to this, I'm new to this. Inmate family assistance, they're, sort of up and coming. So it was kind of this, it felt like, I don't know, kind of like one of those, like, let's get the band together and like,
Yeah.
do this thing kind of vibe. So we had a lot of fun with that. So like not only was it great because it got us in the community, it got us like out there doing the thing, spreading the word, but it also created this really cool connection between the three organizations where like all of a sudden like we were all rooting for each other and taking care of each other and checking in with each other. So it was really cool on a lot of levels. But we had a great time with it. I don't know if we made a lot of money, that night. But like I said, it was really cool to be out there, be present, and just kind of create this really cool bond with these organizations that had not existed prior. So, really cool connections.
Yeah, and you could see that I got to go to that event, and it was a Wednesday night, and I guess they typically have trivia at least a couple Wednesdays a month. And Alan Waters from downtown Christiansburg, who apparently had never emceed a trivia night before, did a great job. But a lot of so each organization got up and said a little bit about their work. And then the trivia questions were tied to each organization's work and then to the Giving Day as well. And it's the kind of thing where you don't always know how much money you'll make there because a lot of the folks there were just coming into Iron Tree for the event. But I think thinking about just like you said, Lauren, like the collaboration on that event between you all, and then also awareness raising of hopefully folks in the room who hadn't heard about you knew a little bit more when they left that night. So it was a super fun event and just really enjoyed being a part of that. All right, I'm gonna head over to our next one. Oop, hold on. Looks, oh, that just might be, oh, it went to the end for some reason. All right, here we go. All right. So we love to see both returning organizations and new organizations. So this year we had 110 organization return. A lot of those organizations had been doing this for many years. For others, it was just their second year, so big variety. For almost half of them raised more than they did in 2025. I think that kind of shows in our overall money raised. numbers, and then also 39% had either the same amount of donors or more donors in the previous year. So that's just it. I think that's shows just a testament to when you do a certain fundraiser at the same time each year over and over again, your supporters get used to it. You as an organization get used to the cadence. And then also just showing the more you learn about the event, often the better you do. So I just found it a lot of fun. It's always fun to have returners come back and kind of pick up where we left off and see what you all do next. And as you can see, at least, so 42 of them raised at least 3,000 or more. Our highest uh, organization in terms of both donors and funds raised, which was of course our superstar Spring House, which is out in Floyd. They're an amazing group. They're a school. They have a K through 12 school, but also all kinds of intergenerational learning opportunities. They raised over 100,000, had more than 400 donors, and so exciting to see them. But it's so exciting to see people at every level meeting sometimes really modest goals. Maybe it's $1,000. So it's such a huge range, and it's thrilling to see what each one of you do year after year. Um, and actually, I'm gonna hop over to here just to show you a comparison to how our new organizations did. So this year we had 21 new organizations, including the Floyd Times. Here on the side here, John Hopkins is, I believe, the editor-in-chief over there. So these organizations raised more than $54,000 from more than 500 donors. And it's extraordinary to see the amount of donations that came in. So we had 4 with more than 70, 9 organizations had more than 10 donations, and you know how it is for folks who've done this event before. You can kind of start smaller with maybe a handful of donations, maybe it's 10, a few more. And it's you can see it snowball year after year if you're putting in the effort with the event. So we just hope that these new organizations come back. And the 4 that raised had more than 70 donations each I was really, I mean, I was excited for all of the folks, but it's just, you never know how a new organization will do. So just thrilled for those folks who I think really exceeded their own expectations. So that was really exciting. The last pieces I'll share in this section is we every year we categorize organizations for different grants based on your budget size. So it's small, medium, or large. And the categories are fairly broad. But wanted to share who did what this year. So our medium-sized organizations, there are 40 something in that group. They raise 59% of the funds. Our large size organizations, I believe large this year was maybe 5,000, pardon me, I can say words, $500,000 or more. The small size, small but mighty on funds raised, they were organizations under 60,000 this year. Then our medium guys were right in between. So and all of this helped us get to 1 million. So it was incredible to see. But what I really like, oh, I'm going too fast here, sorry. Um, and while I love dollars raised, of course, it's exciting to see and knowing what that will go to in your organizations. It's also so fun to see number of donors. So it's more evenly distributed when you look at the different size organizations. So still medium with 43%, but look how much small organizations brought in, and then our large organizations as well. And it's always thrilling to see an organization on a shoestring budget, maybe with all volunteers, just get tons and tons of donations. So we love to see that, and love to see how everyone approaches that. And some of our small size organizations have really cracked the nut on getting a lot of donations and really push smaller size donations with their supporters, which is a great strategy. Um, and so we just love seeing that. All right, success with our new organizations. And I can just brag on the Floyd Times a little bit. And of course, folks know just kind of the media landscape in our world right now. So many smaller newspapers are disappearing, so it's really heartening to see the success that the Floyd Times has had just in the last year or 2 years. They're quite new. Um, and so seeing how successful they were this year, they raised more than $25,000. I just hope that they feel really jazzed about that because that was really thrilling to see. Another newcomer that kind of came out of the woodwork, we didn't hear from them a ton in the spring, which is fine. But I just sort of thought, okay, maybe they don't have a ton of time to devote to the event, was LEAP, which is, I don't remember the acronym, but it's Performing Arts, an arts organization in Blacksburg. They do a lot of dance and so forth. They kind of burst through the wall like the Kool-Aid Man on the Giving Day and just did so much. And they end up winning some awards for how much they raised, and they won the last Power Hour of the day. So we were just thrilled to see them succeed, and of course hope they had a good experience with the event. But it was thrilling to see them kind of harness their supporters for this event because you just never know when you introduce something new to your supporters, how it might land. Sometimes it goes like gangbusters. Other times I think it can be sort of like, what are you talking about? Um, so we were just thrilled for them and the work that they did. Crystal, I don't know if you have anything to add as a first time organization, but we are just so glad to see how well you did. It was wonderful.
For me, I just think going to all the webinars and the physical meetings and listening to everybody else's comments, some things didn't make sense at the time. They make a lot more sense now that we've experienced it. I remember going to Pulaski, and I don't remember the gentleman that was there that was talking for the Pulaski YMCA,
Yeah,
but he was talking
Dave.
about like the day of. He just spent like all day reaching out to supporters, and that was his sole purpose in life. And I found myself in my car at the last 2 hours just texting every person I've ever met in my
Yeah.
lifetime. And I'm going, oh, this is what he was talking about.
Yeah.
So some stuff really didn't sink in at the time of, but it was useful information because it sank in as we were experiencing it. And so it's helpful for next year because now we can kind of put two and two together and be a little further ahead of the game. Um, Especially the scheduling, like everybody keeps talking about like schedule out what you're going to do and when you're going to do it. And we're like, well, we don't even know what we're going to do. So we're just going to wing it and it'll be great. And again, blood pressure medication. So a little more prepared this time, but going to those sessions and just absorbing the information from others was very helpful, even though it wasn't necessarily always utilized at the time. It's fruit for next year because hearing it and then experiencing it and then being able to put it together will make us that much more successful for next year. So I really appreciated everybody's input and the fact that there were so many opportunities to go and listen to everybody that's done this, and all their different ideas and the willingness to share with us.
For sure. I'm so glad those sessions were helpful. And the person you were talking about, Dave Atkins, he's the CEO of the YMCA out there, but I think he kind of stunned the whole room because he goes, "Yeah, I typically make at least 150 calls on the day of the giving day." And we were all like, "Wait, what?" But he just said, I know everybody in this region. I've been doing this work for a long time. I know our donors, and a lot of them won't necessarily make a gift then and there, but some do. And that's just his strategy. And I think for some of the newcomers in the room, I think it was sort of like, wait, do we have to do that? And so hopefully what folks took away from that event was there's many ways to success. But I had actually never heard that one of making those phone calls on the day of the event. Um, so I really love that anecdote. And we're right there with you, Crystal. I think a lot of us were texting friends and family and saying, hey, did you get that email I sent? Can you go to this link and give $5? So absolutely. All right. This is second to last section, I think. I'll head to. Yes. All right. So, talked about our numbers and talked about some of our successes. Just want to share a few tips about keeping in touch with donors. And these might seem pretty obvious, but just thinking about, it's already been more than a month since the Giving Day ended. And it's so easy, and we do this at the Community Foundation too. It's so easy to kind of go to the next thing, right? Because we're all so busy and there's always something else to do. So I would just suggest kind of taking a moment to write down one I didn't put on here was write down any lessons learned this year of things you definitely want to do next year or you definitely don't want to do next year. Both are helpful. Write those down now while they are fresh. And then make sure that you've said thank you to your donors. So any donor that gave online automatically received a tax receipt and that was generated. So that, that touch point already happened. There's a little thank you in those. But if you have the time or if you have some board members or other volunteers who might want to, who need a task, having them send handwritten thank you notes. I've gotten several from organizations that I gave to. I find the handwritten notes always really nice that someone put in that extra effort. A lot of folks who write them know who I am, so they'll write a little note to me, which is really nice, just because of all my work with different organizations. One thing that we do at the Community Foundation is we ask our board members to help with those thank you notes, and then we print out a spreadsheet, and next to the person's name, how much they gave, and their address, we put what their relationship to the Community Foundation is. So it'll be Lindsay's dad or Jess's husband. Or longtime donor, all on that list, so they can be more personalized if the board member has time for it. So if you have the chance to do that, or even if you want to type something up and write a quick little note, if that's easier for you, I think that extra touch is always really helpful. And of course, that can also be done over email. With the way mail is going these days, maybe that's a little bit easier. But just saying a quick thank you note, I think is always to make sure that they know that you noticed their gift. And in that note, you could ask them to get more involved with you. So a really easy lift for folks is to ask them to sign up for your email list if you send out regular newsletters, or even something that's a little bit less regular, like quarterly. But ask them if they want to receive those. Let them know about upcoming events or volunteers. If you could look at your donor list and see, wow, this person gave us $500. We're not really sure who they are. They've given small gifts before. Maybe you invite them for coffee to learn more about them and their interest in your organization, or invite them to a tour of your space to learn more about your work. And you can get all the info from folks who gave online by pulling reports on the website. So all that is available to you. When someone gives online, you can see their billing address and their email. And that's not information that the Community Foundation shares with anybody, but it's something that you all can look up to look at more details on your donors. And you can see if they gave before, if you're not familiar with past donors, and so forth. So figure out ways to make sure that you have touch points with them, and kind of a mix of things that are non-fundraising. But also think about reaching out to them again if you do like an end of year campaign, and certainly ask them again for next year's Giving Day. But just make sure you have touch points in between now and next year's Giving Day. And it doesn't have to be a huge amount of things that you do. Maybe it's a couple things, and kind of get the ball rolling, but see what you can do to keep them connected to your work. And one thing that some of the folks on the call might not know is you have the option to use the GiveLocalNRV site all year round. So the pages that you put up for the Giving Day, unless you hide it, which you can do, and I can show you how to do if for some reason you want to do that, donors can make gifts any time of the year by going to that site. That's something that we love about the site, is that there's more than it's probably 160 organizations. Not every organization on the site participated in the Giving Day this year, but you can give to so many different types of organizations, and donors just have to go to one place. So you can use the site for other campaigns during the year. You can use it full time as your online donation form. And of course, it is free to use both during the Giving Day and all year round. And there's tons of reporting features, including a lot of new things that used to be behind a paywall that they've now unlocked for Giving Day participants. So we're just excited. We enjoy using the Mighty Cause site. There's pros and cons to every site, but we also feel like there's so many robust tools on the site, and the support we get from the Mighty Cause team is really valuable. So just know that that's available to you. You certainly don't have to use the site more often than just on the Giving Day. Plenty of organizations just use it as for the Giving Day. But just know that it's an option to you if you'd like to use it other times a year. You can always do that. And Emily is here from Mighty Cause. I don't know if she has anything to add to what I just said, but I can pass it over to her for a moment if she wants to add anything.
Yeah, I think you covered most of it. I'll just add or emphasize that we do have a couple premium features that are now available for free. So even if you have been on the site for a few years now, like we encourage you to poke around and see what's new, and see like the embeddable forms, the automated emails, next to give, all of that jazz. So we encourage you to look at that and keep looking at the nonprofit toolkit to see all the new things to come.
Absolutely. Thanks, Emily. Yeah, there's so many different tools, and so many different things that you can do with the website. So you can certainly keep it simple, and not use all the features, but I definitely encourage folks to explore different aspects of the website just by logging in. If you're an admin on your page, and then you can go in and see the different tools. So there's always something new that Mighty Cause is working on, and there's all kinds of things that you can use in there to do some donor management, great reports, and so forth. And then lastly, we would love your feedback. So we know that this is a complex event, and we're always looking to hear if we can communicate better about something, if there's a type of training that would be useful to you, if you have feedback on if you had a really great experience, if you have something you were concerned about, we would really appreciate your feedback. So we will have our feedback survey open for a couple more weeks. We'd love to get to a 20% response rate. We just need 9 more to get there. So I would love that if folks were able to help and give feedback. I can send this link after the meeting, and then you can also scan this QR code. But we read all of that feedback and just would really appreciate anything you have to say. And I can grab that link in a moment and put it in the chat. But yeah, again, we read all of those. It should take you about 5 minutes, mostly multiple choice questions, but it gives us a good snapshot about how things went this year and if you have ideas for next year. All right, and while I'm going to grab that link and kind of throw it back to the group to see if any of you have some other successes that you wanted to share about before we all head out. Or feedback is also welcome. So here's the link to the feedback form. And yeah, but would glad to hear any other successes if you'd like to share.
Lindsay, I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Your feedback form has me kind of wondering, has anybody ever done like almost like a feedback form for their donors asking like,
Mm.
you know, with your experience through this, Giving Day, like, is there anything we can improve upon, or what did you really like about it, or what would keep you kind of coming back for more type of thing? Obviously, wording is not my strong suit, but you get the point.
Yeah, that's not one that I've heard of. But if anyone has done that with their donors, that would be great to hear. And Emily, I don't know if you can think of other giving events that have done that, but that's an interesting one.
I know there have been a couple nonprofits that have sent out their own surveys to folks, so I can get you an example of that if you'd be interested.
That'd
A
be
good
great.
place to put that that comes to mind would be the automated email that gets sent to all donors right after. If you just add
Yep.
a link, that could be good, and of course follow up because it's hard to get folks to fill those out. But
Yeah,
yeah, I'll write that down together.
I like that. Um, yes, cosign Emily that is hard to get folks to fill out the feedback form. But always glad for folks' feedback for sure. Um, all right. Um, so thank you all so much for joining today. So happy to do a little bit of celebrating virtually, and I'm just going to stop sharing. Um, and just congratulations on everything you did this year. Oh, and Susan, I'm sorry about that. I mislabeled the Blacksburg Master Chorale photo. I'll fix that. Um, but yeah, it's just incredible again to see the work that you all do each year, and all the wonderful things and kind of a bright spot in our news cycle and in our community, and just shows it's a testament to the great work that you're doing that people want to support you in this way. Otherwise, you wouldn't be getting money if you weren't doing good work, and we're just thrilled for all of you. So please stay in touch with us. Probably a lot of you get our twice monthly e-news, but if you don't, we would love to have you sign up for that. That's the best way to hear about upcoming events at the Community Foundation. That link is in the chat, and then I'll send it in my note to you all afterward. But congratulations, everyone. Don't be a stranger, and hopefully, definitely see you next year for the Giving Day, but absolutely would love to see you before that. All right, have a good one. Take care.
Thanks, everyone.